Biomed Nexus Daily updates your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR, the Medicare GLP-1 Bridge program launches today, giving Part D beneficiaries access to Lilly's Foundayo and Zepbound and Novo's oral and injectable Wegovy at a $50 monthly copay. It arrives as the pharma letter describes the obesity market moving into a more practical second phase, defined by access and durability, rather than the injectable demand surge that defined the first wave. The thyroid eye disease race added a third player. Roche said the FDA accepted and granted priority review to a supplemental filing for Enspryng, satralizumab, in TED, according to the pharma letter. This lands one business day after Viridian's Lumvoa won approval, and both now target Amgen's Tepezza franchise. Abivax shares jumped roughly 40% to €116.5 after new data on obefazimod in ulcerative colitis showed malignancy rates in line with what is normally seen in UC patients, clawing back the drug's early June crash, according to CNBC. The company remains on track for a Q4 2026 NDA and is widely viewed as a takeover target. AstraZeneca reported positive Phase 3 data for F-zymphotase alpha in hypophosphatasia, showing improved bone health in treatment-naive children with the rare metabolic disease. BioCryst is winding down internal drug discovery and closing its Alabama Discovery Center of Excellence by the end of 2026 to shift toward externally sourced rare disease assets. Executive takeaway: the obesity market grew up today. When the Medicare GLP-1 bridge goes live, it marks the shift from the era of scarcity to the era of access. The first phase of the GLP-1 story was about demand outrunning supply, injectable shortages, compounding pharmacies filling the gap, and cash pay patients paying whatever it took. The pharma letter's framing captures where we are now, a more practical second phase where the questions are who can get the drugs, who pays, and whether patients stay on them. The bridge answers the access question for roughly 60 million Medicare beneficiaries, putting Foundayo, Zepbound, and both forms of Wegovy within reach at $50 a month. That is a structural expansion of the market, and it lands the same week Lilly is filing Foundayo for type 2 diabetes and preparing retatrutide for a 2027 launch. The competitive terrain now runs across three axes: efficacy, retatrutide's 28% at the top; convenience, oral Foundayo and oral Wegovy; and access, the bridge. Whoever wins depends on which axis matters most to which patient. The thyroid eye disease space tells a smaller but sharper version of the same story about markets maturing. Amgen's Tepezza had TED essentially to itself for 6 years. In the span of 2 business days, it now faces Viridian's newly approved Lumvoa and a priority review for Roche's Enspryng. 3 targeted options where there was one. For patients with a disfiguring, undertreated disease, that is a good problem. For Amgen, it is the end of a monopoly. Read full analysis, immunology. The TED race adds a third contender, RHHBY, VRDN. AMG and Roche said the FDA accepted and granted priority review to a supplemental BLA for Enspryng, satralizumab, in thyroid eye disease, according to the pharma letter. Enspryng is an IL-6 receptor antibody already approved for neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder, and a TED indication would open a new market for the drug. The timing is striking. Just 1 business day earlier, Viridian won approval for Lumvoa veligrotug, an anti-IGF-1R antibody that goes head-to-head with Amgen's Tepezza. Tepezza launched in 2020 and had the TED market to itself. Now 2 challengers arrive in the same week, one approved and one on a priority track. The competitive dynamic will come down to efficacy, infusion burden, and how each drug handles the hearing-related side effects that have been a concern with IGF-1R inhibition. IB-Dabivax recovers as cancer signal fades. ABVX-ABVAX shares climbed roughly 40% to €116.5 or 133 on Tuesday after new data on its lead ulcerative colitis drug, obefazimod, eased the safety concerns that had cratered the stock in early June, according to CNBC. The drug crashed about 44% on June 2nd when a data set showed cancer cases among patients on the highest dose. The additional data, released late Monday, showed malignancy rates in line with what is normally seen in UC patients. Abivax also reported that more than 37% of patients who did not respond initially achieved clinical remission on a 50 mg dose after about 10 months, suggesting delayed responders may still benefit. The company remains on track to submit its US NDA in Q4 2026 and is widely considered a takeover target, with a market cap around €8 billion after shares gained nearly 1,700% in 2025. Analysts have called obefazimod a potential best-in-class UC treatment. Rare disease AstraZeneca hits Phase 3 in hyperphosphatasia. AZ and AstraZeneca reported positive Phase 3 data for efzimfotase alpha, an investigational enzyme replacement therapy, showing improved bone health in treatment-naive children with hyperphosphatasia, a rare inherited metabolic disease, according to the pharma letter. The data strengthen AstraZeneca's rare disease portfolio, built substantially on the Alexion acquisition, and position efzimfotase as a potential next-generation option in a condition where treatment choices are limited. BioCryst exits. Internal discovery. BCRX BioCryst is winding down its internal drug discovery programs and will close its Discovery Center of Excellence in Birmingham, Alabama, by the end of 2026, shifting toward externally sourced rare disease assets, according to the pharma letter. The move reflects a broader industry pattern of companies narrowing internal research in favor of licensing and acquiring later-stage assets, the same buy rather than build logic driving the record M&E wave. Coming up today, July 1st, Medicare GLP-1 bridge program launches. July 31st, Section 232 pharma tariffs effective for large companies. August 2026, Replimune RP1 FDA response. August 22, Capricor Duramiocel PDUFA Advisory Committee now pending. Imminent, Revolution Medicines, CNPV filing, Lilly Foundayo T2D filing, Read, Full Analysis Biomed, Nexus, Pro Institutional Intelligence Brief. The Access Era begins. The Medicare GLP-1 bridge is the most consequential policy event in the obesity market since the drugs launched. Here is why it matters beyond the headline. Medicare has historically been barred from covering weight loss drugs. The bridge works around that through the framework negotiated as part of this year's pricing deals, providing Part D access at a $50 copay for beneficiaries with obesity or overweight plus comorbidities. That opens a population that was largely paying cash or going without. The competitive read, the bridge covers both Lilly and Novo products, so neither wins on access alone. The differentiation shifts back to the drug attributes. Lilly's oral Foundayo and Novo's oral Wegovy compete on convenience for the needle-averse. Zepbound and injectable Wegovy compete on established efficacy, and retatrutide, when it launches, will compete at the top of the efficacy curve. The bridge enlarges the pie, the fight over slices continues on clinical merit. Watch first-week enrollment volume and pharmacy fill data. Analysts have floated 500,000 to 1 million beneficiaries enrolling in the first quarter. If the real number runs hot, expect renewed supply questions. If it runs cold, expect scrutiny of the copay and eligibility friction. Thyroid eye disease, from monopoly to three-way. Race Amgen's Tepezza defined the TED market. It was the first FDA-approved therapy launched in 2020 and generated substantial revenue as the only targeted option for a disease that can cause vision-threatening eye bulging. That monopoly ended this week. Viridian's Lumvoa is approved and competes directly on the same IGF-1R mechanism, reportedly with a shorter infusion course. Roche's Enspryng takes a different route, hitting the IL-6 receptor, and now has a priority review. 3 drugs, 2 mechanisms, 1 market that until Friday had a single player. The clinical differentiators to watch: infusion frequency and duration, the hearing-related adverse events tied to IGF-1R inhibition, and whether Enspryng's distinct mechanism offers a cleaner safety profile or a subcutaneous option that reduces infusion burden. For a disease with high unmet need, competition should expand the treated population overall, even as it pressures Tepezza's share. Abivax. The takeover. Watcher-Bivax is a case study in how binary biotech has become. The stock gained nearly 1,700% in 2025 on obefazimod's promise in ulcerative colitis, crashed 44% on June over a cancer signal, and recovered 40% Tuesday when follow-up data put the malignancy rate in the normal UC range. At an €8 billion market cap with a potential best-in-class oral UC drug and an NDA due in Q4, Abivax sits squarely in acquisition territory. The IBD market is projected to exceed $30 billion by 2030, and every major immunology player, AbbVie, J&J, Lilly, Merck, Roche, is looking to strengthen its position. Obefazimod's oral dosing and its data in initial non-responders make it strategically attractive. The market clearly expects a deal before the projected 2027 launch. The question is whether a buyer moves before or after the NDA clears. Visit the Pro Hub read. Full article as your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory. 2104 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus signals weekly sales. Intelligence for life sciences BD teams. Learn more.